Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Sitting. It's how most of us spend too much of our time. Americans on average sit about 10 hours a day, and 80% of us suffer from sitting-induced back pain. Sitting is not what our bodies were meant to do, according to our guest today, UVM Medical Center Dr. Turner Osler, a retired surgeon and lifelong academic researcher. So he designed a chair to help his own back issues and ultimately the pain issues of many others. Welcome, Dr. Osler.
Brian, it's great to be here. Thanks.
So we quickly want to cut away to the star of the show. It is the Ariel Chair. I think you got to tilt down a little bit. There it is. This is almost more like a stool than a chair, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. This has been designed by Dr. Osler. And Doctor, you were a surgeon for 30 years on your feet, and then you switched to research and then to a chair designer. Tell us your version of that story quickly.
No, it's not at all the way I intended to spend the last segment of my career, but I have the usual backstory of a trauma surgeon, undergrad in neurobiology at Princeton, then medical school, surgical residency, 3 fellowships, trauma, critical care, burns, and I spent 20 years, taking care of people with gunshot wounds and car crashes and God knows what. And then, you kind of age out of that game. I could still stay up all night, but the next day was getting harder. So I got a grant from the NIH, and I got a master's degree in biostatistics. And I started doing the epidemiology of trauma, and especially trauma care at trauma centers. And all of a sudden, my job switched from being a peripatetic, or ICU back to the ER and so on, to just sitting writing code. And for the first time in my life, my back started to bother me. And I thought, what's up with this? But and I bought every ergonomic chair in the book, and nothing was of any help. Even the weird ones, the kneeling chairs, the yoga. I went through all of that stuff. And finally I thought, I've been to medical school. I know anatomy. I can figure this out. And I had the great good luck to fall in with some people at the Generator, a makerspace in Burlington. And, I said, this is a problem worth solving.
And so you went about it and did it. So let's talk about active sitting. What is active sitting, which you were basically trying to propose, because the spine is meant to move?
Right, exactly. We're designed to be walking or running or lying down, but not really hunched in front of a computer all day. And so it's that hunch that's catastrophic. It ruins people's posture. Ultimately, it leads to back pain and a weakened core. And by not moving, your muscles go electrochemically dark, and there are really horrific biochemical consequences. Passively sitting takes as much as 2 years off of our lives, according to very careful epidemiology. It's terrible to be sitting still. But people gotta sit because it's the 21st century, and our lives and our amusements and our employment all depend on sitting. So we had the breakthrough insight that if you could be moving while you're sitting, the problem can be solved.
So how do your chairs work? What are you trying to accomplish with them, and how do they work?
So we want people to be moving as though they were not sitting. We want them to be basically walking. And other people have, worked on this problem, of course, chair designers with cams and gears and this and that. But we came up with what amounts to just a novel shape. It's the intersection of 2 cylinders at right angles with non-coincident axes and possibly different radii. Archimedes sniffed around it, but he missed it. We found it. Turns out you can own a shape, so we have a patent on this shape. And if you put it under the seat pan of a chair, it allows the chair to move in every direction. And it's drop dead simple, so we can make them inexpensively and make active sitting available to everybody. We injection mold these things in Milton, just to say.
Great. So, well, your company has also been engaging online influencers, and one vlogger has a video about productivity in his space, and he included a commentary on your chair as part of his workspace setup. Let's take a look.
Let me show you my chair. This is the Core 360 Ariel, and at first glance, you're probably thinking, what kind of chair is this? It's no ordinary chair, I'll tell you that. There is no backrest, no armrest, and the seat actually tilts. This is all on purpose. It's to keep our bodies in motion. Think about it. We humans are designed to move, not stay rigid in unnatural 90-degree angles. This chair engages my core and lets my body naturally align itself into a comfortable position. It has significantly reduced my back pain and is a game changer when it comes to ergonomic chairs. This chair is also very small, which saves a lot of space in my room. It is fantastic.
To Jessen Tung for that. I think he just did a great job on your chair. So, but ergonomic office chairs are really big business. What's your issue with them? Why don't they work as well as you feel this chair works?
They are enormous business, and they'll tell you that they're the best thing to sit on. But if the ergonomic office chair, and they're all the same, of course, you can look at them and find them from $100 to $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. The design's always the same: backrest, armrest, lumbar support, and all of those things. If they're working so well, why do 80% of us have back pain? Their design hasn't changed in a century. These guys are trapped by their legacy. They've convinced people this is what a chair has to look like, and they can't sell a chair that doesn't look like it.
So to make sure that we get to it, I also want to talk about your wanting to get kids on active chairs. So another one of your chair designs, you have a couple of chair designs, but is the button chair, or the butt-on chair, affordable active chair for kids, and a very cute pun there. There it is with a young man on it. Tell us about that project and why it's so close to your heart.
Well, we have a kid, and I've spent time with kids in schools, and you watch kids, and they go from being able to squat gracefully with perfect posture, and then we put them in chairs in schools for a few years, and they can't squat anymore, and they lose their perfect posture because we impose the 90-90-90 posture on them all day long. It's a catastrophe. So we had the idea we should put active chairs under kids, but schools can't afford glitter for preschool projects. So how do you do that? And our answer was, they can't be cheap enough, so they'll have to be free. So we cooked up a design that can be made out of plywood and a tennis ball with a CNC router, and put it up on a website so anybody can download it. The plans have been downloaded over 2,000 times around the world. We've got 100 of these at a school in Essex, and kids love them. And we know this because they're wearing out the goddamn tennis balls. We had to switch out the tennis balls for lacrosse balls. Let's see them wear that out.
So that's what's between the seat and the stand. And you have, not only do you have a kit of all of these pieces that people can put together, you also have a kind of DIY from, this is how to cut it out with the plan, and all that can at buttonchair.com, right?
Exactly. Buttonchairs, buttonchairs.org. It's not a commercial project. We give it away.
Right. Fantastic. And the kids love it, and that's working for them.
Mm-hmm.
So you also have a multi-generational business. You are the CEO, and your son Lex is the COO of QOR 360 or Core 360, your chair company. How is it to be in business with your son?
Well, he went off to Cornell to get his degree in computational biology, but when he got home, he found that I had basically given away his inheritance in this weirdo passion project. And he looked around and he said, oh my God, and so in order to claw back his inheritance, he's made it a personal mission to try and put us on a little more business-like footing. So it's this constant tension between Lex trying to make us a real business and me just trying to cook up, weirdo ideas. And so it's been a lot of fun, really. I had no idea he was so smart. And, and as he says, it's working with a demented polymath isn't all it's cracked up to be, meaning me.
I love it. And I believe that most of the parts are actually manufactured here in Vermont.
No, because we got our start here, we just started making stuff here. So the rocker I mentioned comes from, Denmark Plastics in Milton. The plywood is cut for us a lot of the parts are done at the Treehouse in Burlington. and
Right.
and all of the legal work and tax, all this stuff is done locally.
Williston, Morrisville, and that's a conscious choice of yours.
Absolutely, because you can meet people, you can shake hands with them, and you can get stuff done quickly. There are other maker communities in other states, and when I talk to these people, they're envious that in Vermont there's just no cutthroat. Everybody's trying to make everybody else succeed. It's very cool.
Yeah. So the chair takes a little getting used to. You gave me a loaner for a week, but I can feel my core is changing, and you must have quite a fan base. Is it catching on?
Oh yeah, no, we've sold almost 7,000 of these things over the web, most people love them. We get email. People send us videos about how it's changed their lives. They're losing weight. Their core is stronger. Their back pain has gone away. It's crazy how enthusiastic people are.
Well, it's not inexpensive. It's about what, $300 or so almost. Of course, this is the one that costs pretty much nothing. For your kids. But whether people buy your chair or not, what do we need to think about our sitting habit before we finish today?
Well, sit as little as you can. If you're on the phone, you should be walking around. If you can do walking meetings, that's even better. The less you sit, the better. And if you have to sit in as many different ways as you can. Mostly don't sit still for long periods of time. It has biochemical consequences that are really terrible. And you don't have to move very much. Just every half hour, get up and move around for a few minutes. Makes a huge difference in the way your biochemistry works. But we know that people get involved with what they're doing, their email or writing code or whatever. And if their chair can be moving the whole time, then, they don't have to be reminding themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Turner Osler, for designing this chair, reminding us to get up and not sit all the time, and for creating these chairs. You can go to buttonchair.org for the kids' chair, or core360.com, right, for your chair. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.